Good Thursday morning, foggers. Another chilly day here in Miami. Coming to you a little bit earlier. I have a doctor's appointment later, and that'll be another conversation down the road. But I wanted to talk about emotion a little bit as far as trauma, right? When I was going through my addictions, if you remember the video I told you about my drinking, I wouldn't eat, right? Because I was quote unquote chasing the high. The same thing when I was doing the pills and stuff like that. You're trying to find the initial, that one first feeling, right? It's like your first kiss. And I heard an interesting comment from a therapist the other day that I was watching. And he said, a lot of the addicts that are going through issues talk about chasing the high. He goes, when in reality, what your subconscious and your mind and your body is chasing is normalcy, your normal behavior, right? When you were made, when God made you and you came off the assembly line, you had like this computer chip of perfection, right? And as you go through life, emotions, relationships, addictions, trauma, whatever it may be, we kind of scar that. It's like a little cut, right? So I thought that was interesting because I've always, for the last 13 years, I've always been like, no, and I give my talks and I'm like, yeah, you know what? I was chasing the high and everything was chasing the high when in reality, I was chasing normalcy. And I thought that was interesting because he talks about, that's alcohol, pills, food, and yes, even sex. That's a whole other topic I don't want to get into, but you're chasing normalcy, right? And he talks about how you're inherently trying to look for that normal quote unquote feeling, whatever normal is, right? And we're kind of like different animals because we're in this profession that is constant with trauma and stuff like that, which leads me to another thing. So a good friend of mine, somebody who follows us here, sent me a video of a shooting that occurred here in Dade County, down south, down by the Redlands area, where a father was killed by police, right? And I'm not going to get into the whole thing because there's always stories, two stories, and there's an investigation, and I don't know anything about the shooting, so that's not what I'm commenting on. But it's a video that the daughter took immediately after the shots were fired. The father's on the floor dying. It is extremely traumatic to the officers, obviously to the children. And so when I saw that video, and if you remember the other day, I was like, I don't like to see that. I don't want to see that anymore. I've seen enough of that. Like most of you, especially if you have a lot of years or you're retired, we saw that. We saw it firsthand. We were involved in it. And it's just, I don't want to do that. But I'm glad that he did send it now because this is a lesson, right? And this is what we're about, getting better. So immediately when I look at it and I see, the man's body on the floor, I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want to deal with this. And I noticed searching, right? Like I tell you guys, search yourself. As I took my son to school and I was going through it again and I see, the image of the body on the floor and the officers, I saw a couple of things. I saw the same thing with the officers, no emotion, right? Obviously they're pumping adrenaline through their body, and it's a feeling where you basically, it's a huge intensity, right? So it is what it is. So I saw that. I saw and heard the family, the son and the daughter crying, which those are the things where when you get to one of those scenes or you're involved in one of those scenes, it's horrific. It's kind of like a dog yelping. If you ever hear a dog that has a broken leg, it's one of those sounds you never want to hear because it's gut wrenching, right? And, right away, in thinking about this right away, I felt myself like what I call the Hulk, right? I felt like this kind of like, fuck you, everybody in the world type, it's like this armor. And it's, even now being retired, obviously I have a defense mechanism and I felt that. And driving back home from taking my son, I wanted to man, this is a good lesson to speak to the foggers about, because I understand that. And I lived that most of my career in different scenes and stuff like that. But when you come down from that, it's important. And that scene that was there with all that emotion, all that trauma that was there, immediately I thought of peers, right? Peer support. And again, officers are not going to be talking at that time. They don't want to talk. they're kind of processing what's going on and the oh shit. And, you know, even if you're super justified, you're still second guessing yourself. There's a lot of stuff, but you're keeping it inside. And so just being there like, hey man, you okay? That's it. Because you're not going to get much out of that. And you have to be very careful. And again, in our profession, yes, those are shootings, and I understand there's a legality to it. And I don't want anybody to start having diarrhea of the mouth and start telling me things later, even though there's a confidentiality amongst peer, that, you know, you may get forced into a situation that you may have to talk, or they you know, statements get crossed, or that's not what we're there. We're there to support, so the officers know exactly, hey, this is the guy I might be able to talk to later. Right now, hey, you want a soda? Hey, you want water? Sit in your car. Did you call your rep? You want me to call your wife? You want me to get somebody to meet you somewhere? You know, just whatever. Things like that are comforting, so you know that you're not the bad guy and there's somebody on the scene that cares about you. So I wanted to talk about that today because, you know, it took me right back to many scenes that I was on, and that I understand. You know, I look at followers and people that look at and I'm not a guy that's into social media about likes and stuff, but I do analyze and I see how you guys respond more to certain videos and certain content, and the people that like stuff and the people that don't. And I have a bunch of people that I have followed and they approved it, but they don't want to follow me. And there's people that don't want to talk, that I've sent messages and don't answer me, and that's fine. I'm not here for anything else other than to try to help and maybe saturate your mind with a little bit of information or wisdom from somebody who's been in some difficult situations. So I just wanted to bring, I thought it was interesting that right away my body, I kind of felt the defense, right? Like the fence coming up. And so I wanted to discuss that. And I know everybody's out there in a difficult situation, and I know I've been there. But together we can find some answers, and that's it. You know, I have to go deal with my stuff. I had, like I said, a doctor's appointment, and life goes on. I have to deal with my stuff and my issues, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that I was here for you. Doesn't make me a great guy. It just makes me somebody who cares about you guys, and I wanted to share that. I still have to go on with my life and do my things, right? But so anyway, I just wanted to put all that. Remember one thing, and I'm going to tell you this, because I think it's a powerful thing. Trauma robs you of your emotions. Remember that. Trauma robs you of your emotions. And I'll give you one quick example. My mom, who I love to death like most of us do, and all my demons and my issues came in through my life because of her and situations, right? But when my mom passed, I really, and this is gonna sound crazy, but I really didn't mourn her. Like, it didn't hit me till a year later. Okay, and the people close to me realize that. I just went like, okay, mom died. Yes, I'm sad. Let's do all the arrangements. Let's get done, you know. And I kind of just like put it back there. I think about my mom all the time, and I bear my tattoo or her tattoo on my arm, but it robbed me of my ability to be emotional about my own mother. How fucked up is that? So if that can happen to me, look at all the emotions that are tied up inside of you. And this is what it's about, man. Getting to a point that we can feel. And it's very difficult. I'm not here to tell you that it's easy, because in our job, you can't get to the scene and just break down. We know that. You got to take care of business. But there's got to be something more, a different mechanism, and we'll ask the doctor. But I understand that we're in a difficult position. But there's things that we can do. There's things that are not being done, and we need to address that. So again, this is what I wanted to bring you guys today. So it's Thursday. Stay warm now in the morning. Stay hydrated. Eat good food. Don't eat shit from drive-thrus. Work out, move, walk, think, breathe, meditate. Do whatever it is you need to do to be functional and happy for yourself and your family. All right? I love you. I respect you. And happy Thursday, man. 3 a.m. fog.